Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the sixth episode of the Circular Chat, curated by ICCE, which is a weekly program that invites experts and practitioners from industries, government, multilateral, and non-profits also to discuss how they are embedding circular practices and sustainability in their business model. We are running into the fifth season, which emphasizes on circularity in electrical and electronic equipment sector. We have collaborated with NSR Cell, the incubation center for the startups at IIM Bangalore for this season. The key focus includes the integration of principles in design, manufacturing, consumption, and end-of-life management of Triple E. We have hosted 5 episodes of this season so far and have covered topics like life cycle of electrical and electronic equipment, collection of waste from electrical and electronics equipment, closed loop business models, material composition, and India's vision to bring circularity in WEEE sector. Today, we'll be discussing open loop business models or linear business models with Mr. Shiv Rao Challa. Mr. Challa is the founder and CEO of 3R Zero Waste, with 22 years of international experience within 12 countries. Mr. Challa founded 3R Zero Waste, which is a sustainable waste management company working on 360-degree waste solutions, that is solid waste management, plastic waste, e-waste, C&D waste, hazardous industrial waste, food waste, and others. The company leverages technology in almost all processes. They use IoT devices for tracking of waste, Geo Spatial technology to monitor the entire world waste, and blockchain for rewarding citizens for proper segregation. Their vision is to follow UNDP SDG Goals and by 2030 to become India's forefront organization into waste. Their NGO wing works for creating skilled workers in the waste management sector with proper education and skills transfer. Welcome, Mr. Challa, and thanks for taking out your precious time for us today.
Thank you very much for the audience and ICCE.
Yeah, thank you. So, Mr. Challa, we have few questions for you today that we would want to know from you. You have to share your knowledge today with us.
Yes, I always believe that actually I'll be learning, while I give my knowledge, I always believe somebody will listen and they will connect me and ask me more questions. That is how I will learn. So that is the way I try to learn myself. So
Definitely, learning never stops. At every stage, there is a scope for learning. So we all will be learning through this session, I hope. So my first question to you, Mr. Chala, is that you are into waste management, different sorts of waste, management you are doing. So can you provide an overview of the current global landscape of e-waste management practices? Because this series is running especially on e-waste management. So this question is regarding the electronic waste only and including the scale of the problem and key challenges faced by both developed and developing countries.
thank you, Robi. So specifically in terms of electronic waste in the global level, based on 2020 statistics, the world generates close to 53 million tons of electronic waste. And to see how India generates, India is close to 3.2 million tons. This is the 2020 statistics. Today we could be somewhere between 5 million. And again, we are number third country in the world in generating e-waste. So first is US, second is China, third is India. And this is something where we would like to be the last, in terms of generating. But since our population is huge and digital India is moving very fast, that is how it is not stoppable today. Coming to the what is happening in terms of developed and developing countries, I have worked in almost 12 countries and I have traveled almost 50 countries. And I've seen, generally before 2020, I would not see waste with that two eyes which I have now. I would just see as any common man. And but recently I have been to the Europe and UK, and what I have learned, that most of this developed worlds are have been pushing their waste to the developing or under developed countries in Africa, it could be Malaysia, Indonesia, China. That was happening in the last decade. But as soon as the new policies came up in these developing countries, most of the countries have stopped getting this material, specifically electronic waste. But recently, when I was giving a lecture in UK, and I was researching what is the UK's perspective specifically. So all this electronic waste comes under Basel Convention. So WEEE is the convention which states that certain countries can export their waste to the other countries. So that was presently, even in India, it is not allowed today based on this electronic waste management policy 2016. But still, I see developed countries had those policies, and I would say 90 to 80% of that waste is being sent to countries like Ghana, Nigeria, and other countries which I'm not sure, but at least these countries they found using IoT devices that waste generated here went to these countries and it was proved. So that is what is happening. And then coming to the breakup of what comprises of this electronic waste. So small equipments, which are like microwave, washing machine, fridge, that is close to 33% of the electronic waste out of this 53 million tons. Large equipments are like 22%. Temperature exchange equipment, which are like ACs, refrigerators, that is close to 18%. Screens, which is TVs and LEDs and plasma TVs, are close to 15%. Then small IT, which is like laptops, computers, is 10%, and lamps is 0.5%. So this is the brief breakup of the overall electronic waste equipments available in the market. So that would be my 2 cents on this question.
Sure. So it's a huge amount of small electronics equipments that they contribute to the electronics sector, I guess. So in India, actually, the informal sector in any waste management sector, not just e-waste, the informal sector plays a significant role. Could you describe the role of the open loop business models in handling electronic waste specifically and its contribution to the economy? And the hazards it poses to workers and the environment, because it is happening in an informal way. All the handling is happening through somebody who's not trained to do that. So what are the hazards associated with it?
Right. So coming, your first question was what is happening with the informal sector. So in 2020, when this idea came to me during my stay in Kuwait, when I got this idea that I want to do something for India, something to clean India, and I wanted to come back. With that idea on March, it was 3rd of March 2020, and I started researching about this and studying and started a course in diploma course of waste management from Switzerland. And then I wanted to come to a conclusion, what should I do? So waste is very big, and initially I thought I would be doing some plastic recycled product. I wanted to be clean. Any good businessman, you're investing, you wanted to don't touch the dirty things. Let us buy the granules and make a product and then sell it. It's a clean business like any other product, like IKEA or any other big brand is doing. But I found that that is India had almost 4,000 recyclers, so I didn't want to be in a crowd. I wanted to be something futuristic, and that's how I jumped into electronic waste. And then I started researching what is happening with the electronic waste in India. So I researched starting from Kanyakumari, Gangtok, Sikkim, Kutch, Karnataka, Kerala, everywhere e-waste is sold at 10 rupees per kg. From the smallest village, if I go to a small village in Srikakulam, which is 150 kilometers north of Andhra Pradesh, where I wanted to set up this factory, I came to know what happens to the e-waste. We sell it at 10 rupees per kg. Somebody calls from Delhi. He sends us a vehicle and he says, okay, you pura truck load kar do. And we pay the money, online bank transfer, and that's it. We don't know. So I again wanted to know what is happening. So actually, they think it's Delhi, but the actual fact is this material comes to Ghaziabad to Muradabad. So this whole belt where small villages, mainly women and small children are working, and they are being, a lot of deaths. So whenever I do my presentation, my uh, third last slide shows a big a picture of what do you say, this chitas, burning uh, bodies of at least so many. But I say that 500 plus deaths are caused because of e-waste, and if my company can save few of them, it will be the success for my company. So informal sector, close to 86% of the electronic waste is managed by them. And unfortunately, uh, government has not yet tried very rigorously, but I know Ministry of IT, Mr. Sandeep Chatterjee and CMET are trying to bring new one project where they want to help, informal sector to come up and become formal. I have tried myself personally. I have the experience when I know one person was selling me ink cartridges. So when I did a video call, I saw that it was so dirty. The ink was flying everywhere. The body, they were not wearing proper clothes. In fact, they were wearing nothing on their, on the top. And I could see that how hazardous and how things they can die in 15 years, 20 years, or they will have very dangerous diseases. And I told them, I would help you. If not, I know government, I would not say this, on public forum, but till today, I have not been supported by any government. So I told them, even if the government doesn't support, I will support you. You become a formal person. I will buy the material from you. I will set up the factory for you. But I also failed. Even after giving so much of facilities, I wanted to give myself, I couldn't convince them. So, but I would still try. It is, based on the government new policies coming. I would still, I am in touch with many informal sectors who buy material from us also. And definitely, since they know me, they might change. So I will keep on trying.
So you mean to say, Mr. Challa, that these people themselves are not agreeing to get help? Or, I mean, I am quite amazed to hear that you are offering help, and is it the awareness that is lacking in these people, or what is the challenge?
Yeah, so see, for me, I would say their mindset, they are blocked. That if they come to a mainstream, they will lose their roti, kapda, or makan. At the end of the day, these are totally at a very, very, you know, underprivileged people who are leaving their families, coming to a different state, specifically from neighboring states. They are coming and they are getting this bread and butter for their families who are staying maybe 1,000 miles away from this city. So for them it looks like, if the supervisor, the one who manages that particular facility, he feels that he is not, if at all he comes on mainstream, he will lose his business, or he will lose his people. And yeah, so that, I think, what is happening.
I'm sure the government intervention is much required here to, to change the mindset of the people those who are suffering here in the informal sector. So my next question to you was regarding this only, that because of all this hazardous waste that they are handling, there are what are the primary health and environmental hazards associated with conventional e-waste recycling practices in India, and how can the hazards be mitigated or minimized? So, what exactly are the hazards, the environmental and economic and health hazards that people face?
So, in an e-waste, specifically, if you go to any e-waste recycling plant, the most hazardous part is the printed circuit board. So, rest all other things are not that much hazardous. They are easily removable. They can be, it's basically metals, various plastics, various types of plastics, copper, aluminum, and this. But if you see that sheet where the motherboard and all the items are put on top, that is called printed circuit board, which is made up of polyvinyl PBRs, bromide specifically in terms of chemistry. So what is happening is these people have been in this industry, for last 20 years, 30 years, they have been using this. And just on that particular note, which I told you people are dying, I was a speaker a couple of weeks back where Telangana government had this event where Mr. Sandeep Chatterjee was also a speaker, and the gentleman Mr. Sinha, who used to be NASCOM Foundation chairman previously, presently he is CEO of Telangana, one of the Telangana government's organization, and he told a story in that, which confirmed that my third slide of my presentation is right. So he told me Ministry of IT and NASCOM Foundation ran a 5 years program. I think it's from 2016 to 21 or so. The program is called Green E, and it is very famous. 5 years, very big budget. Multiple crores of awareness was given. Number of NGOs were part of it. So Mr. Sinha was the leader for that particular program, and he wanted to check what is happening with this informal sector. What are they doing actually? So he personally went to Muradabad, which is the actual hub of where this e-waste dismantling and gold recovery happens using unethical practices. So sir went there, and he quoted specifically that he entered to one of this very shaky infrastructure where he was checking what they're using, what sort of chemicals they're using. So they were using something called potassium cyanide, which is a very common chemical to extract gold. So there is a very small percentage of gold in the chips of any electronic component, maybe cell phone chips or server chips or computer chips. So these people were doing some process, and the potassium cyanide comes in a form of a solid like a batasha. It is it is given to God in the Hindu religion. So batasha is a very like a small circle, maybe around 1.5 centimeter to 1.5 inches. So when he was discussing this with that particular person, his their family small daughter came inside. She was 5 years old, and she saw this batashas. Small kids, they don't know. So she took that batasha and kept him to the alma. She died in 5 seconds in front of Mr. Sinha. So this proves, till now I was talking, I had these numbers from various websites telling people that people are dying. It was just my story what I didn't know. But when Mr. Sinha said this, it really made me clear that there are more people which are dying and nobody is talking about that. So this is one hazards which is happening in the informal sector. But also if you see the small equipments, most of these people in the normal household, what we are doing is we are putting in the dry bin, or we are putting one bin only. No, but 99% people even don't follow two bins today in India. So what is happening with that one bin? It is going to the landfill. So in the landfill which is in Ghazipur, Bandwari, these landfills, these chemicals, arsenic, PBRs, polyvinyl chlorides, these are being leached into the groundwater. And if you, there are reports, so many reports from IIT Bombay and ISC Bangalore, that this leach, whatever area, if you go to Ghazipur and you research, you will find that many people have tumors, cancers, abdominal cancers in that area. And this is again caused because of that groundwater leaching of arsenic and other contaminated water these people are drinking. So these are the two major, but e-waste, I have a presentation again which says totally the whole body, which particular chemical is affecting our body. Generally, I showcase in my presentations. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the story that you have shared, I'm sure it's very disheartening for you to see or listen to this when you are trying to bring some change, and that is not been happening. We try to create awareness as much as possible through this platform so that it should reach to the ears of the government or the people, those who are starting up with their e-waste management companies. I think more and more should come because it's a huge amount of e-waste that has to be looked after. So, Dr. Challa, you have already discussed that they don't have proper training. These are just informal sector people, those who are not trained to do this. Now they lack access of to proper training, protective gear, and environmentally sound recycling practice. What strategies or initiatives have been successful in converting them into responsible recyclers? Have you seen something like this happening, ensuring where this has happened in India? Have you seen something like that happening, which ensures their safety and in compliance with environmental regulations?
So see, in specifically in India, definitely, only the out of 520 recyclers registered with Central Pollution Control Board, and based on this recent amendment into the policy where they have discarded PROs, dismantlers. So only today there are 100 registered recyclers. So out of 520, 420, some of them were not even existing. They were just having a paper. So they were also allowed to bid. And some of were like dismantlers like me, which are like a tier one recycling capability. And then they were tier two, which is a core recycling facility. So out of this, uh, if 520 or this 80 presently who have got proper facility, I would say 20 of them only, which are predominantly, some of them are big players having 100 crore investment, to name through Cerebra, Exigo, Ecorico, and eParisra from Bangalore, Tisam from Chennai. So these are five, six big companies who have invested very good and they have very good facilities. But then there would be a second 20 companies who have got medium, invested 1 crore to 10 crores of investment, and they have some decent facility, but I would not say they have a world class best health and safety protocols maintained. So I think there is a lot to be done even in the recycling good companies, the safety parameters, because I come from oil and gas, and our in oil and gas safety is very very important. I've seen companies work with companies like Exxon Mobil, where the yearly budget is 30 million US dollars for taking care of safety. So much is being done, but I think e-waste industry is very very new, nascent, and people will learn slowly what sort of hazards, more hazards, and how we can take care of our people and planet.
Absolutely. So India has a long, long way to go, I think, in this sector, and that's a starting number that only there are only a few handful of recyclers, registered recyclers. So we see a huge scope in this sector and lots to be done. So now, Mr. Challa, India's e-waste management rules and regulations have evolved over the years. I'm sure the conditions change when the rules and regulations are imposed. So can you provide some insights into the current regulatory framework governing e-waste management in India and how effective it has been in addressing the challenges posed by these models?
Perfectly. So I think there are two major amendments or changes which have come this particular new amendment on 2022 November, and I would like
Hmm.
to share, because again this is a medium where we can get people aware. uh, Fortunately, I have been very successful in spreading awareness to 9 lakh people, and that is how I am ranked number one waste management startup in the northern region for spreading awareness. And so there are two basic major things. One is EPR. So government has very strongly started checking the EPR policy. They have sent not only reminders, they have sent fines to people who have not been registering them, specifically for electronic waste and plastic waste. So they have the database, and they have sent them emails. So if they know that you are importing electronic waste, if you are a producer, if you are an importer, or if you're a brand owner, so it's a PIBO model which they follow. And now they have got huge manpower. They are giving consulting consultation projects to various smaller contractors, where they can go and check about these companies if they are compliance of that. So that is for the point from the client perspective. But coming back to the general public, what we should know, previously there were only two categories of electronic waste portfolio. So one was called ITEW and one was called CEEW. So ITEW is IT equipment waste, then consumer electronic and electrical waste. So these were the two categories. Now in the new amendment, government has come up with these seven categories. So the first one is ITEW. It is same, which is like laptops, computers, printers, copiers. Then there is a second one, which is the small electrical equipments. So microwave, washing machine, and iron box, and stuff like that. Then large machines, in which refrigerators, TV, fridge, and stuff like that has come. The fourth one is solar panels, also is one of the new part. Then there is medical equipments have been added, instruments have been added, and then toys. So a lot of toys are also having electrical component now. So now the government has made a huge bifurcation, which is close to the international standards. Previously, it was close to only 26 items. So ITW had like maybe 10 items, and CEW was having 16 items. Now this total seven categories, now 106 items. So that is how government has made huge bandwidth now, where they want to support the electronic waste recyclers. But unfortunately, in India today, even if at all it's a London and I have a fridge, I'm staying on the 10th floor, what I have to do is, if my fridge is not working, I have to either myself pick that fridge, which is like very big, it's 150 kgs or 200 kgs. So I have to hire somebody, I have to bring it down. So there is a cost for the labor, and then bringing it down. Then I have to pay for a truck and take it to the recycling center. And then based on the model and the brand, I have to pay certain pounds to the recycling center. So there is a approximate cost of 60 pounds on a what I have to pay as an individual or a family. But in India today, if I have a fridge in the 10th floor, I will say, I will call a kabadi wala and say, kitna doge bhai? How much will you pay? So the mindset of the people is, that I bought this fridge for 70,000 or 50,000. I should get 1,000 rupees. That is my, that 1,000 is maybe 2 cups of coffee or 3 cups of coffee, 2 movie tickets. But we don't feel that because of this, somebody is dying. Nobody sees that. And that is the pain point which we are trying to aware people, that when you give to a proper recycler, it's a cost to bring it down. It's a cost to transportation. It's a cost for recycling. So if you don't take this 1,000 rupees, he will save some more money. He can give that proper PPE to his employees. Today, why people are not giving that safety parameters? Because there's no margins. If he wants to give his people PPE, he has to save money. And today there's no margins in India. So that my plea is, to people who are listening, that your 1,000 rupees, for you it's 2 movie tickets, but for somewhere some people is dying, and we are going to be the reason for that.
That's quite an eye opener, Mr. Challa. And yeah, here in India, things work on that parameter that kabadi walas, on the scrap dealers, they pay you whatever they are taking back, they pay you for that. So there has to be an awareness, there is EPR, extended producer responsibility, but we do not talk about the consumer responsibility. I'm sure there should be, unless there are some rules and regulations. Only awareness can create some change in that sector, I think. So, in the transition from informal dismantlers to responsible recyclers, what role can technology and innovation play in streamlining e-waste collection? So, e-waste collection must be a challenging task. The way you are telling that nobody wants to give away, the uh, even if it is not working, they want money because they have invested in it, so they want money for that. So what is the role of technology and innovation in streamlining waste collection, recycling processes, and ensuring traceability? There is a lot of technology which is coming to take care of these things. So please let us know about a few of the things. And you yourself say that your company takes, the leverage of technology. So please share a few examples here.
Right. So after 3 years of doing business in electronic waste, when I started, I immediately came to know that this is the mindset of people is blocking this. I will not get material. And to tell you the numbers, my plant capacity is 500 metric ton. The first year of my company, I just got 1.5 metric ton, which is close to 0.20 percentage of my capability. The second year, I got 20 metric tons, which is 100 times more than my first. And the third year, we are close to 220 metric ton, which is 11 times my growth. But if I was only waiting for e-waste, I would have, like, my company would have died, because you cannot exist, because every month there is a continuous recurring expenditure of close to 3 lakhs in my case. So I pivoted a bit into industrial waste. I am based out of Manesar, where there are 4,000 industries. And I also found that even industries don't have a choice. Kabadi wala is the only choice. So I became a white collared kabadi wala. I could speak their languages. I could give them awareness only for the premium segment customers who are Japanese, who are Norwegian, who are having Sweden, background. They were my clients the first year. So I could talk to them about UNDP SDG goals. I could talk to them about their net zero compliance, and then they were looking for somebody like me. So that is how I was able to sustain my first year. And fortunately, I also became a board of director of the Manesar Industrial Welfare Association, in which I became for environment and sustainability. So that gave me a leverage to talk to 4,000 CEOs and CMDs of all these companies, both MSMEs and MNCs. So that helped me to grow my business. So 90% of my first year revenue came from industrial waste. The second year, it became 60-40. And now this year, it became 40-60. So 60% revenue comes from e-waste and 40% from industrial waste. And that's how I moved my industrial waste to the separate facility where we have built last month. Now, coming to the technology, so I came to know in the e-waste, all these 550 companies were working on B2B model. They were running behind all the businesses. Now it has become a saturated market. There are auctions, big brands have put auctions, so there is very competition. Smaller companies, there is also competition because so many players in the market. But nobody was targeting the B2C. Still today, you go to the best of Gurgaon, best of Bangalore, you will see that the TVs are being sold to Kabadiwala. The washing machine sold to Kabadiwala. The AC is sold to Kabadiwala. So my company, if you see my company's website, my first value is 24/7 innovation. And I also, as you gave the introduction, So what I'm trying to do now is to bring a platform called Karma Coins, which is rewarding citizens for sustainable gestures. So everybody from the time he gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning till he sleeps at 10 p.m., he is doing something good for planet Earth. Some people know that's good. Some people even don't know it's good. They're doing it good, but they don't know it's good. And people who know it's good, they don't know how much good they are doing and how much more better they can. Today, nobody is calculating this data. So what I'm trying to do is to capture each and every sustainable gesture using IoT devices and your mobile phone, and then give you a blockchain based tokens like coins, cryptocurrency maybe in future, but for now we are giving you tokens. So let's say you are segregating your waste in 2 bins every day. I will give you 2 points every day. If you are having 4 bin segregation, I'll give you 4 points every day. If you are taking your Uber to your work, I will give you, this is all example, 4 points every day. But if you are taking a carpooling, I will give you 8 points. If you're taking a metro, I will give you 16 points. But if you're taking your petrol car, I will give you -2 points. If you're carrying your own cotton bag to supermarket, I will give you 10 points. So these are a couple of very, very small things where we'll be capturing data and make point system for every person every day. And let us say, Surabhi, you are staying in DLF Express Greens, flat number F101. So your whole family accumulates these points and your flat gets, in the end of the month, let us say 1,200 points. So I'm going to gamify this leadership board. Your flat would be either ranked, either you are number 1, number 100, number 1,000 in the community. So then you'll be getting a reward. And all the flats accumulated will become the apartment number, the 1,02,000 points for, let us say, Express Greens. Same would be, let us say, MR Palms will have 2 lakh points. So from municipality, we will give awards to the best society. So this data will tell how the whole city is doing good. And my vision is the person who is number 1 in the city should get a BMW X5 car. The award should be so much good that people who win will be very happy and the rest will be very jealous. And they will start doing good things in their life. And that's how India will change.
That's so wonderful. Count me in for this competition, Mr. Challa, then. That's so interesting to know that somebody is coming up with this kind of an idea, and there is technology that can support this kind of a model. So that's very interesting to know, and I'm sure lots of awareness. You spread a lot of awareness, and together I'm sure we all can help you with the awareness that is needed to get through the masses. So thanks for your time today, Mr. Challa. It was great knowing you, and the sharings that you have shared with us today, your experiences and examples. They were extremely eye openers. Many of the eye openers that you have shared with us. It was an insightful session with you. Thanks a lot for your time today.
Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate it from IICC.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for watching the video also. We'll see you next week on Wednesday at the same time with a new expert sharing his or her expertise. Let me know if you have any queries on surbi@icce.com. Keep following our social media handles for the upcoming events. Have a great evening. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.